What is going on, YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married to Medicine Season 9, Season Finale, Episode 15. So, I just want to say that this season of Married to Medicine was probably one of the worst seasons that they've ever had. And usually, Married to Medicine is one of my favorite shows. I always look forward to watching them because out of all of my reality TV shows that I keep on my roster, this is the show that I feel like is the closest to reality. Because I understand and I get it that these reality TV shows, they have to stage scenes and they have to put people in these contrived scenarios to create some kind of drama. I totally get it. But Married to Medicine to me has sort of been closest to reality out of all of my reality TV shows because these are real doctors with real families, real marriages. And so I kind of felt like I kind of held this reality TV show a little bit higher on the pedestal than my other reality TV shows because these were mature people with real careers. It wasn't a bunch of single people running around trying to hook up with people. It wasn't just a whole bunch of young, hot looking people trying to show off their bodies. These were real people that you would see in your everyday life. So maybe Married to Medicine has run its course. Maybe this is the beginning of the end for it. Maybe these people are too old and too tired and too busy with their careers to really put a lot of effort into this show because this season just did not give me anything at all. And the issues that they have on this show in past seasons are like real deal issues, like adult, mature issues. When the marriages are going through a struggle, when the friendships are going through issues, they're real issues that anybody can relate to. But this season, they gave me nothing to work with. And it's not like I'm wishing marriages to fall apart or I'm wishing for friendships to fall apart. But it was just absolutely nothing. I feel like the whole entire season was based on rumors. Of course, Dr. Heavenly with her YouTube issue that kind of carried it in the beginning of the season, but that kind of faded away because her and Contessa didn't really film a lot together, really didn't interact. And then, with Heavenly's Heavenly's mother passing away, that kind of like, we couldn't get too much into it. And then also, Audra, the new character, she comes in and she came out swinging, like literally. And so she kind of brought some excitement. So she showed what she's really all about. She's fine. She tried to bring some of the drama. But then the other women, like Dr. Simone, was almost MIA. I mean, she was definitely there in a lot of scenes, but she wasn't really giving anything. Her and Dr. Jackie, their friendship seems to be still struggling, or their friendship seems to have taken like a completely different turn, and now they're not as close anymore. And I really enjoy the dynamic between Dr. Jackie and Dr. Simone. I remember like when they used to have lunch together, and they would sit outside and one of their outside of one of their offices, one of their clinics, and they'd have lunch together on that picnic bench. I enjoyed that. And I enjoyed the trips, and I don't know if it's because of C19 or what's going on, but I enjoyed like the international trips or the trips to like really nice places, resorts and stuff like that. Yeah, so this season was it was really lackluster. So they're still at Blue Ridge Mountain and they have a sex therapist or a sex goddess come out. I don't know who the hell she is. So she comes out, they have fun with her. The therapist, she says that she's in like a polyamorous relationship and that piqued Toya's interest. And it was just a scene for comic relief, I guess. I don't want to see Jackie and Curtis on the floor. I don't want to see Simone and Cecil on the I don't want to see any of these people on the floor. I kind of see them kind of like my older cousins or my aunties and uncles. I don't want to see them simulating anything on the floor. Let's move on. So the women get together. Dr. Jackie acknowledges, the progress that Toya has made. She made up with Dr. Heavenly, she made up with Anila, and Dr. Jackie highlighted that Toya did this all on her own. She wasn't pushed or forced to do it. It just happened very organically. Dr. Jackie asks about Contessa and Heavenly, like, what's up with y'all? We can't leave this retreat or this trip without the two of you addressing y'all's issues. And so they both agree that their relationship has definitely taken a different turn. The relationship has changed. It's not what it used to be. And it's cool because, relationships are like living, breathing things. They change, they grow, and sometimes they grow into something that's different, and y'all are not as close as I used to be, and that's perfectly okay. Dr. Heavenly says that Contessa, first of all, Dr. Heavenly praises Contessa, talking about how beautiful she is, how smart she is. And she tells Contessa that she shouldn't accept things just because someone is a man. And I'm thinking to myself, Dr. Heavenly, why are you so insistent on throwing digs at this woman's marriage? Y'all have already acknowledged that, hey, our friendship has changed. There's nothing wrong with that. We are not as close as we used to be, but we can definitely be friendly. We can be civil, and that's fine. Okay, leave it at that. Why do you have to take a dig at her marriage and say that she doesn't have to accept certain things because, her husband is a man or whatever? Just because it's a man, you feel like you have to roll over and just take it. Let that woman do whatever the hell she wants to do with her marriage, whether her husband is good, bad, indifferent, or whatever. If she made the decision to stay with him and accept whatever he is and whatever he's given to her, that is her business. And don't talk about her marriage, because it seems like whenever they take two steps forward with their friendship, all of a sudden Dr. Heavenly will say something about Scott or something about, the marriage, and then they take 10 steps back and they're back to square one. So I don't know why Heavenly doesn't understand. Keep Contessa's marriage, keep Contessa's husband out of your mouth. She is a grown woman. She knows what she wants to do with her life and with her relationship. If she doesn't want to be with that man, she won't be with him. If she wants to be with him, she'll be with him. Whatever is going on between them is strictly between them. It's got nothing to do with Dr. Heavenly. But Dr. Heavenly, her excuse is, well, you put it out there so I can talk about it. So Contessa tells her, that's my kid's father, who I choose to be married to from here until eternity is my business. So keep your opinions about my marriage to your damn self, to your damn MFing self. And if you don't want to stay out of my business, then you and I have got nothing left. We've got nothing going on for one another. So Contessa says she doesn't feel safe anymore. This is no longer a safe space for her to talk about her marriage, because she gets blasted on YouTube whenever she says anything about her marriage. Contessa tells us in her confessional that therapy has definitely helped, that Scott has completely evolved. He's a different man. And the only problem that she has is Heavenly, not Scott. What else can you do but accept what she says? If she says that everything is fine, then everything is fine. What else can you possibly do? I feel like her and Scott, I felt their camaraderie or the way that they were getting along with one another was a little bit forced. I felt like they were trying too hard to prove to the people we're happily married, we have no problems, or if we have a problem, we know how to handle it because we're in therapy. What did they say in the beginning of the season? They said something like, we fight smarter or something like that. They don't fight as ugly with one another, but definitely for sure you can tell that they made an agreement with one another before they began filming that they were not going to air out their dirty laundry. They were not going to act out against each other on camera. That if there's any type of issue, if they want to cuss each other out, it's going to be done off camera in private. So Dr. Heavenly says, well, don't put your marriage out there. You're so beautiful, but you don't have to take crap from him. That's what she tells Contessa. And Contessa at that point had enough. And I'm like, Dr. Heavenly, do you want to be this woman's friend or not? Do you want to move on with Contessa or not? Because it seems like you really don't want to. Like, you would rather throw her marriage under the bus than work on your friendship with her. Because if you really cared about the friendship over the drama, you wouldn't talk about her marriage. The one thing that Contessa wants Dr. Heavenly to do, don't talk about her marriage. That's like the one thing she doesn't want Heavenly to do. And that's the one thing that Heavenly cannot help but do, is to constantly bring up her damn marriage. So Toya, okay, so Toya tries to talk to Dr. Heavenly. Dr. Heavenly ain't having it. So she calls her stupid. She calls Toya stupid. And I don't know what it is about Dr. Heavenly. I don't know if she felt like she was at the end of her rope or because the season was wrapping and this was going to be the very last scene. So she felt like, okay, I cannot pretend with Toya anymore. Because throughout the whole season, it seemed like she was sort of getting along with Toya. They were kind of like civil with one another because at Quad's house warming party, Dr. Heavenly and Toya, Dr. Heavenly confided in Toya, hey, there's going to be some stuff going down because, I heard somebody came and told me that you're sleeping with somebody in the neighborhood. So I'm just giving you a heads up, giving her a warning. Like she was trying to be a friend to Toya. So they were good in a way, for the majority of the season. And now all of a sudden it fell apart. And Toya was just trying to I don't know. She wasn't saying anything bad to Heavenly, but Heavenly didn't want Toya talking to her at all. So she called her stupid. And then Toya says something about her stupid wig or something. And then it just totally went left after that. Toya then addresses Quad. So Quad says in her confessional that basically it was Anila that gave her the information that fed her the rumor about Toya being unfaithful to Eugene. It was Anila. Anila tried to play it off like it came from her friend. I forgot her name. That this rumor was perpetuated by her friend. But Quad says in her confessional that no, because of the fact that people think it was her, because her and Toya have beef. So she wants to make it clear, just because me and Toya have beef, I was not the one that perpetuated that rumor. The rumor was told to me and I just repeated it or whatever. So in her confessional, she basically says it was Anila. So Simone owns up for spreading the rumor about Quad sleeping with her contractor to get her house fixed for free. Now, this is what I didn't like about Simone. Okay. I did not like how in her confessional, she said that there was no way Quad would have been able to afford that house on her own as a single woman. That irked me because how do you know what Quad's got going on? How do you know what's in her bank account? How do you know how she earns all of her income? Are you counting her pennies? Like, how do you know that she couldn't buy a house like that on her own? So she needs a man in her life, or she needs to somehow, a man has to be connected to her for her to be able to afford that home. I don't know if it's true or not. I don't know what's going on with Quad's bank account. I don't know what's going on with Quad's income. I don't know. But I don't like the assumption that Dr. Simone put out that it was completely impossible for Quad to afford that house on her own. It could be possible. The fact that, these women need to have a man in their life in order to have, the better things in life. Like, what? So Toya and Quad, they go at it. Toya says that Quad has been lying about her, has been lying on her for the past, 7 years or whatever. And then they show us a montage of all the things that Quad has said about Toya. I just don't know. I don't know why Toya and Quad are like oil and water. I just don't understand. I don't get it. What Quad has against Toya. And Dr. Heavenly has it bad against Toya. It doesn't come across on the show, in my opinion, but on her YouTube channel, if she ain't talking about Contessa, she's talking about Toya ad nauseum. The next day, Dr. Damon gives Dr. Heavenly some really good advice. Like he always does. He's always trying to tell her to be the bigger person. Don't react to every little thing that people say, that people do. Be the bigger person and walk away, be above the mess. And she never listens to her husband. Her husband is constantly telling her that, she's better than this. Don't, all that good advice he's constantly giving her. And she always talks, I listen to my man. I listen to my husband. I listen to what my husband tells me. Except when he tells you to stay away from the mess. That's the one time that you don't listen. He'll tell you to go get him a plate. You hop up and you do it. He'll tell you to go iron his clothes. You'll hop up and you'll do it. But when he tells you Heavenly, walk away from the mess, that's the one thing that you don't listen to. Dr. Jackie also gives Dr. Heavenly advice about trying to restrain herself and not react all the time. She don't listen. So the pastor shows up. They have church. After the church service or whatever, Dr. Contessa says that she is open to being friends with Dr. Heavenly, but won't allow herself to be mistreated. Dr. Heavenly said that, no, this is what I'm saying. Dr. Heavenly, just stop talking about that woman's marriage. The next day they have, okay, later on after the church service, they have breakfast and Martin and Audra announced their pregnancy. And that was the end of it. It seems like the reunion is going to be a lot more exciting than the actual season. And to me, that's like a red flag. That's a huge red flag. If the reunion is more poppin' than the actual 15 weeks of real content, that's a red flag. That is a huge red flag. I don't know. It was just a nothing season. I really didn't enjoy it that much. And I'm really, really disappointed because this is one of my favorite shows. But what can you say? And Dr. Simone, please stop. Okay? A single woman can afford whatever home she wants to have as long as she puts her mind to it and puts in the work behind it. I'm not saying that Quad did or did not give favors to the contractor. I don't know. And I'm not saying that Quad can or cannot afford that house on her own. All I'm saying is that for her to just completely dismiss the notion, like it was just a complete impossibility for Quad, being a single woman, to afford a home like that. I just thought that that was real shady and uncalled for, but it is what it is. Thank you so much for joining me. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, don't forget to rate the video if you like this content. Go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.